So I seen some comments, and I think it's time we start talking about what happens if Kell Brook were to beat Gennady Golovkin, because this is a possibility. It's unlikely, but it's still a possibility. Okay, after all, we haven't. I've never seen Gennady Golovkin tested. Okay, he's been with competition that, to be honest, I think that welterweights could be. I definitely think a welterweight could beat David Lemieux. I think Floyd Mayweather can beat David Lemieux. I think Keith Thurman can beat David Lemieux. Like, if that's his best competition, I definitely like the competition that I've seen Gennady Golovkin in with so far. I definitely think that some of the top welterweights could have their way with. So, with that being said, I wanted to talk about what I would do if Kell Brook were to beat Gennady Golovkin, because this is really a possibility. I don't think it's likely. Again, I feel like I have to keep on saying that I don't think it's very likely that Kell Brook would beat Gennady Golovkin. But if he were to win, let's see, a few things. All right, number one, I will shit on Gennady Golovkin till the cows come. Like, I would not stop. Like, everybody that called Gennady Golovkin a top 10 pound for pound fighter, he's done. If Gennady Golovkin were to lose to Kell Brook, it's over. I don't even want him on the pound for pound list. Okay, he is done. That's how serious it is, because the fact is not only the fact that Gennady Golovkin, his resume is so weak, but he's up in there again. If he loses to someone that has a resume like Kell Brooks, who's only beaten his only solid victory was against Sean Porter, then that says to me that Gennady Golovkin, he's all hype, and all of that. We already think that he's pretty much overrated at this point. But if he were to lose to Kell Brook, I think that a lot of people will immediately remove him from their pound for pound list, just simply because he lost to someone that's that even Kell Brook is pretty questionable at the 147 pound division. We all know that he's very skilled, and he could potentially be the best at the 147 pound division, but he hasn't really proven himself since the Sean Porter fight. Who has he fought? So again, this is not like the best welterweight going up against the best. I'm not, I think Gennady Golovkin is the best, right? But you still have to legitimize. You have to, you still have to legitimize that. You still have to beat top opponents. And even though it's not necessarily Gennady Golovkin's fault that he's not getting some of these big fights, like against a Daniel Jacobs or a Billy Joe Saunders, he still has the opportunity to take on some good challenges and get some good names on his resume. So from now on, I'm not giving Gennady Golovkin any more excuses as to I wasn't giving them excuses before. Like, I may have been. I'll be honest, I've been a little bit harsh on Gennady Golovkin myself, but again, that's because of the fans. That's because of idiots that propel Gennady Golovkin's career further. It's like, it's a disrespect to other boxers in general. Like, you think about what other the types of opponents that some of these other boxers have to defeat to get recognition in rankings and stuff like that. And then Gennady Golovkin, he hasn't even, the best competition you can really think of with Gennady Golovkin was like Gabe Rosado, a 154 pounder. I mean, it's pretty absurd to me how, again, I think Gennady Golovkin is the real deal, but you have to prove it. You can't just. I mean, eye test alone doesn't, say much to me. I want to see you do that to people of note, people that I will remember 5 years down the road. You know what I'm saying? So, if Gennady Golovkin were to lose to Kell Brook, all that hype is gone. He's no longer you can't put. I don't want to see him on any pound for pound list at all, because he has not only does he not have like a decent resume, but again, he lost to someone that has a somewhat of a questionable resume at 147. I'd say somewhat because, again, Sean Porter, we're not going to sleep over that fact. Even though he may not have fought the best competition in recent memory, he still defeated Sean Porter to get that belt. And so, I'm not going to pretend like Kell Brook hasn't, done any work, because he still has done something. That one name alone is better than every single name on Gennady Golovkin's resume today. So, Yeah, that number one. I don't want to see him on a pound for pounds list. And number two, the second thing I will do is I'm probably going to hop on that Kell Brook bandwagon. Yep, I'm gonna be on that boat. I'm gonna be on that ship. I'm gonna be on that wagon, that automobile, that vehicle. I don't care what you want to call it, but this motherfucker, Kell Brook, is the person that you got. Let's not pretend like Gennady Golovkin isn't being avoided by some people at 160. I've never said that he wasn't. So for Kell Brook to go up to 160, beat Gennady Golovkin, that would be the biggest accomplishment of his life. You see what I'm saying? That's a bigger accomplishment than Keith Thurman beating Sean Porter. Let's be honest. He'll be propelled to probably my top 5 pound for pound, if not maybe top 3. Like I don't know where I'd put him exactly on my pound for pound list, but he'll definitely be a pound for pound fighter right now. If he were to beat Kell Brook, if Kell Brook were to beat Gennady Golovkin, you can't take anything away from him. Everything, all those fights that he didn't take is suddenly legit. Like if Kell Brook beats Gennady Golovkin, he is vindicated. Okay, there's nothing bad you can say about Kell Brook ever again because he just beat Gennady Golovkin. He just took that risk and take it. You see, and here's the thing, people, you need to understand this. Okay, you don't. In these Amir Khan, Kell Brook situation, if you are the one that's volunteering to move up, no one told you to go up and fight Gennady Golovkin, but if you're the one that's volunteering to move up in weight to face Gennady Golovkin, you don't get credit for losing. You don't get anything for losing. It's either, Kell Brook right now is in a win-lose situation, whereas Gennady Golovkin is in a lose-lose situation. Okay, he still looks bad facing Kell Brook, but if he loses, it's even worse. You see what I'm saying? For Gennady Golovkin, it doesn't get better. He doesn't, like, the best he can do is knock Kell Brook out in the first round. Okay, because if the longer Kell Brook stays in the ring with them, it's just gonna look worse on Gennady Golovkin's part. People are gonna if Kell Brook can make it to the later rounds against Gennady Golovkin, people are gonna start questioning him. All right. Whereas with Kell Brook, if Kell Brook can defeat Gennady Golovkin, I can definitely see a lot of boxing experts kind of backing off of him, as far as the criticism goes, with him not really facing the best competition. Like I know that I'm not going to, after this fight with Gennady Golovkin, even if he loses, although I don't feel like Kell Brook deserves a pass to duck Errol Spence, because, and by the way, I don't think Kell Brook facing Gennady Golovkin means that he ducked Errol Spence. If he ducked anybody, you can argue it was Jesse Vargas, but you can't say that he ducked Errol Spence, because Errol Spence, from what I've heard, Errol Spence still has to face Leonard Bundu for that mandatory spot for Kell Brook's IBF title. So he's not officially an IBF mandatory yet. Okay, so let's just make that clear. Kell Brook is not currently, he hasn't ducked Errol Spence yet. Okay, if you want to make the argument that he ducked Jesse Vargas, okay, that's acceptable, that's fair. But you can't really say that he ducked Errol Spence, at least not yet. But anyway, after this fight with Gennady Golovkin, I'm not going to push for him to fight the best competition, not even at 147, because we all, again, this guy is probably eating himself up to 160, and it's going to take we all know that he's probably going to take some heavy punishment from Triple G. So it's going to take a little while before his body gets back into the 147-pound division. Like, I don't know what age Kell Brook is at this current time, but it's hard to fluctuate weight. Like, I used to be a wrestler, right? And I'm not even going to talk about my stories, because I'm sure you guys have probably heard like a lot of stories from these other boxing enthusiasts and stuff like that. But it really isn't good to fluctuate your weight, go up and down, and especially as you get older, your metabolism, it slows down, so it's even harder to cut weight at an older age. And so if I remember correctly, I think Kell Brook is probably like he's reaching his 30s. So I don't know. I don't think that, me personally, I'm not going to push for him to fight Kell Brook next. And it does feel like it's going to be a cop out. You know, a cop out to not face Errol Spence. But you know, what can we do? This is what we've been faced. But if he beats Gennady Golovkin, we are all like, he is officially vindicated. No one's going to say that. Like, I'm not gonna be saying shit like, "Oh, he ducked Errol Spence for Gennady Golovkin." No. If he goes in there and washes Gennady Golovkin, all of a sudden he's done. He's done it. You know, there's nothing you can say bad about Kell Brook. It's like LeBron James beating the Golden State Warriors with the Cavaliers. You just can't say nothing bad about him. He's all of a sudden invincible. You can even argue that he's suddenly pound for pound best, because he actually traveled up in weight to face someone that's a top. People that are arguing Gennady Golovkin's like a top 5 pound for pound fighter. I don't think I would, but you know, that's what people argue. So yeah, I really just wanted to make this video to point out that you know, good things can happen. Like, there are good outcomes that can happen from this fight, but the outcomes that can come that are good only comes if Kell Brook wins. If Kell Brook beats Gennady Golovkin. Otherwise, I don't see this fight being a good thing for either fighter, except for getting a little paycheck, you know. But more so on Gennady Golovkin's side, maybe that, like, the only thing Gennady Golovkin's getting like is a paycheck, whereas with Kell Brook, he's really just, he's getting, you know, he's destroying his body, he's risking his body. He can have like a shortened career from this, and you know, it sucks. But again, if he beats Gennady Golovkin, you know, there's nothing you can say or do to him. Like, he's the best, you know. And that's just the bottom line. So yeah, if that's what I'm gonna do if Kell Brook wins. If Kell Brook wins, I'm gonna be on that bandwagon. I'm gonna be on that Kell Brook vehicle. I'm probably gonna be driving it. You know, I'm gonna be the biggest enthusiast ever. You can call me a nut hugger or whatever. But that's only if Kell Brook wins. You know, I'm gonna be the biggest fan of Kell Brook ever if he wins. I'm not. I'm gonna be the first one up on here talking about, oh man, Kell Brook, greatest boxer in the world. Now I'm probably not gonna say that, but you know, I'm gonna say some good things about Kell Brook. But again, criticisms only go away if he beats Gennady Golovkin. I really just want to put an emphasis on that. So take it easy, y'all. I'll probably be back with some more shit, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.